Well, obviously there's GDPR. Don't need to go into that. I think what's probably runs deeper than just GDPR is this growing sense that machine learning, data, AI, especially in the wake of Cambridge Analytica, Facebook, Google, that these type of technologies need to be further regulated. And I don't know what the future holds from a regulatory perspective. I think GDPR is really going to be the start. And what I would recommend, certainly for our clients and for other technology companies, is to be much more thoughtful about exactly where data is going and where data is being ingested. Absolutely not. So here's a really good statistic, right? According to McKinsey, about 98% of the world's data have never been analyzed, right? And that's because data come in the form of video, audio, text. And I mean, just think about how difficult it is to convert that kind of data into structured, usable data. I would say that there's a 98% of world of opportunity out there. Yeah, really, really good. So going back to your previous question around our companies using their data properly. And frankly, if I take a look at a financial institution, right, most of the data is actually trapped in text. It's trapped in the contracts, emails, conference, etc. And what I would say is if you're able to somehow pull out that data into some kind of structured, usable database, you can actually start asking questions like, if I had a downgrade on my bank, what's additional collateral I need to post? Or what is my cross-default position across my derivatives contracts? If you can actually find a way of leveraging that data and transforming that data, you can actually, frankly, answer most of your regulatory questions. I think there are a couple of different strands, right? Obviously, in the world of AI, I use AI as quotes, there's the cost-cutting sort of narrative, right? It used to take me X number of people to do a certain process. Now I've automated them, so I need Y number of people. But I think the benefits of machine learning and AI actually extend far beyond just beyond just cost-cutting. There is the point around the fact that I'm much more accurate, right? We've seen examples, certainly in our world, that the machine plus a human is substantially more accurate than humans alone. I think the second point is actually using something like RegTech AI as a sort of revenue-generating strategic advantage as opposed to just a cost avoidance. Examples of this are things like capital sort of relief in RWAs. I think the final point which I would make, which is probably the most sort of interesting one, is that if you can somehow bridge the gap between machine learning and the data and the decisions, suddenly your decisions become a lot more transparent. If you have a lot of humans making a lot of decisions, that's not necessarily documented. But using AI, you could potentially document every process. I would say there are two challenges, right? I think the number one challenge is actually that as a RegTech, we operate within a very specific use case and very specific framework. And there are many different layers of decision making and many different layers of considerations that expand well and beyond the use case that we're trying to sell. I think understanding those considerations will substantially help smaller RegTech players or even big RegTech players get to the right outcome. I would say the second part is very much around, frankly, inertia, right? These are large organizations, extremely risk averse. And if you can somehow show that actually your use case is somehow different and somehow doesn't seem to disrupt, but seeks to complement, I think that will really help RegTechs getting adopted. I think there's a lot of great things, right? I think one is helping us get our message out there. That's really, really key. I think we have pretty good presence, but actually we see a lot of customers here. We see a lot of potential new customers. It's getting our message out there. I would say the second one is just having an honest conversation, right? I think, as I mentioned before, we all come from very different angles, as a technologist, as a banker, as a compliance officer. And creating a forum where we can have those honest conversations, I think will lead to sort of just better outcomes for everyone.